We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud, the most extensive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, your one-stop source for all things what the hell is going on. If you're not here, you're not getting a clear picture of what is going on out there and out there. It's going on, folks. It is getting down, getting dirty. I put on Mr. Voter Fraud there, Biden, because he's in some big trouble. But before we get there, I want to say a big thank you to Darcy T, who did a big, juicy super chat donation last night, but for some reason it didn't go through. In fact, I got that claim from a few people. It just wouldn't let them. Anyways, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the sentiment, and I appreciate all the support we're getting behind the scenes. Thank you very, very much, all of you. You know who you are. You're keeping this channel real. You're keeping it live. You're keeping it going. And folks, there's a lot to be concerned about. You bet. Now, I want to start with let's take a wild guess. That's right, the Jim Jones juice. Well, guess what? It's confirmed to be bad for you. I think there was a couple of lawsuits going on claiming, that's right, our good friends in big pharmaceutical land, well, they didn't do things quite right. Surprise? Hardly. We all knew it. We all understood it. We all believed it. And if they tricked you, coerced you, used duress, you're lucky you didn't end up like this person. In Ohio, a nurse there has she's been granted a pretrial hearing in a workman's comp lawsuit. That's right, because she was coerced, forced to take the Jim Jones juice. She ended up with a severe neurological disorder. What does that mean? Her nerves are fried. She's got disabilities now. Thanks, Biden. Thanks, government. Thanks, big pharmaceutical. It's huge, folks. Take a wild guess. Confirmed. Confirmed. I didn't want everyone to think I'd forgotten about these topics. There's just so much to talk about. And folks, flies are dropping like athletes. I mean, athletes are dropping like flies. So an ESPN commentator collapsed on live TV, folks. That's right, Shaka Hislop, right? A soccer commentator was covering the Madrid versus AC Milan. Wild guesses? Anybody? Anyone want to take a wild guess as to why an athlete, kind of like, I don't know, Charles Barkley, or kind of like Neon Dion, or kind of like Shaq, any one of these super pro guys, they go on to be commentators. Man down. Anyone have a wild guess? It's still out there, folks. In fact, I'm going to make a wild claim. Someone might say this is a conspiracy theory. Is it? There is an attorney, folks. He is whacked out of his mind. A lawyer, imagine that. And he's from the far Cocoa Puffs for Cuckoo Puffs. He's way out in the cuckoo land on the left. He thinks President Trump should be detained, held, arrested. Now, the headline says, his reason is really dumb. I don't care that an attorney from the left thinks Trump should be detained or arrested or held or sent to Guantanamo Bay or publicly executed. I don't care what they say or what they think. What I am concerned about is that the whole world is missing the point here. Even the smartest amongst the Democrats suffer from some sort of idiocy-induced brain IQ eating fungus or virus or something, maybe even a spike protein. But they have a hatred, which is also akin to violence, folks. And it's been determined that people with low IQs have a tendency to resort to violence first. So now we have even their lawyers, the smartest amongst them, just reacting to pure hatred rather than their intellects. So I don't care what this guy's reason is or how dumb it is. What he's showing me is that the smartest amongst them are losing their shit. So what does that say about the Democrat that lives in your city, works in your company, lives on your street? How dangerous are they? How many violent left-wing idiots have we seen out there attacking Asians, attacking Hispanics? How many illegal immigrants have we seen attacking Americans? How many Far East and North Africans have we seen of and heard attacking Americans and Europeans? It's an IQ thing, folks. And I don't think the Jim Jones juice is helping any one of them. Not one of them. Think about it. Folks, if it's clogging their arteries so bad that their heart has to pump extra hard to get blood around so their heart enlarges like a muscle. Any muscle you have, when you exercise, gets bigger. If it has to work harder than muscle, and the heart is a huge muscle, it'll get bigger so it can handle the workload. That's myocarditis. That's pericarditis. The heart has to get bigger and bigger and bigger to pump the blood because the veins are getting fuller and fuller and fuller of what? Clots. Just like that professional football player, he's done. His legs are full of clots. His lungs are full of clots. They can't breathe. They pass out. They can't walk. They pass out. And if they're not getting enough blood to their muscles, folks, imagine what's happening in their brains. Right? We know about the jugular vein. It's a huge vein that runs up from the heart straight up and into the brain to feed the brain. The brain massively consumes oxygen, nutrients, energy to keep it alive, to keep it powerful, robust. It is a big part of being a human, a powerful mind. If they're getting clots in their hearts and in their legs, in their lungs, in their arteries, in their veins, what do you think it's doing in their little pea brains? There's some Dr. Seuss for them. I can tell you what, folks, I tested my body to see how it was doing. I did a huge stress test on it Saturday. I paddle boarded for 3 hours and half of it was into the wind. And so, you know, when you're big, you're like a giant kite or sail. And I was going the wrong way. In fact, I probably paddled more of the time into the wind because the return back wasn't all that difficult. Moved very quickly. But my arms, my chest, my abs, my legs, all the muscles being used, trying to keep balance, working, paddling, just trying to get around. Great exercise. Had one hell of an aquatic adventure. Went into the mangroves. Did some, it was almost like tunnel exploration. It was crazy stuff, a lot of fun. But the point is I exercised, heavy duty, was never short of breath. Ultimately, after 3 hours, I exhausted all of my, that's right, all of my glucose, all of my energy. I drained the muscles, drained the liver. I was exhausted. But I never once was short of breath, never dizzy, nothing else, folks. But these people who have had the Jim Jones juice, They could be sitting there just talking on a microphone in front of a camera, and they pass out cold, folks. They just keel over with the slightest amount of exercise. Their hearts are enlarged, their veins are clotting up, and their brains are being starved. Can you say zombies? Zombies, folks. They're out there right now. They're demonstrating their lack of intelligence when their smartest can't even put together a decent sentence. Hello, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, any of them. They make no sense. None at all. So it is Monday, and it's Monday Mayhem. I want you to get your questions down in the comment section. Man, and Jolene will scoop them up, get them ready. Your questions will come up after my monologue here. I get the first 30 minutes. You get the second 30 minutes. This is your chance. If you are, pow, there it is, a preparedmind.club or a subscribestar.com premium member, $2 a month, that's all, then you can come on live daily and we'll talk about everything and anything you want to talk about. Now, what do I want to talk about? Well, there's this guy, and we're all being punished, folks, for something that he says shouldn't be happening. This guy is a brilliant scientist. That's right, folks. Nobel Prize winner. Yeah. Nobel Prize. Aren't we supposed to follow the science? Aren't we supposed to listen to the smart guys? Well, this is the Nobel Prize winner, folks, who came out and said, there is no real climate crisis. And he said that the models that they use are incorrect, that their science is flawed. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter whether he was right or not, because nothing has changed. In fact, he has now been canceled, folks, for his climate talk he gave at the International Monetary Fund. Done. We can't have smart people telling the truth. What does that say, folks? What is canceling, by the way? It's an act of professional and economic violence. It is an act of financial murder by removing someone's job, their banks, right, their professions. It's an act of violence. So when someone tried that shit with me, I consider it a violent act against me. If they could do anything else, they would. But they're cowards and they're chicken shits, and that's why I attack them so vehemently. You get kicked around enough, folks. You get enough money stolen from you. You get enough people trying to destroy you. You will start fighting back. That's why I'm here. Because there's enough of us that know it, and there's not enough of us talking about it. So please use your free speech, right? And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit your thumbs up. That's free speech. Share the internet address. That's free speech. And be sure you're subscribed so you get more free speech. Now, free speech is a good thing, right? But get this, folks, a California school board. That's right, folks. A school board in California. Guess who they kicked out of their meeting? Was it some radical right-wing extremist? Was it some lunatic parent that the California school board kicked out of their meeting? No, folks. It was a California state official that got kicked out of a school board meeting. You see, even in California, there's good people. Even in California, there's good school boards. Parents and people are taking back the schools away from these sick, perverted bastards. Now, it is incredible that a state official had his free speech moment, and then he was rejected by the people, and the police, sheriff's department, kicked his ass out. Why? Well, because this guy was trying to bully the parents and bully the board. Why? Because they want to protect children from the sexual deviant grooming perverts. And the school board wanted to reinstate, reinforce, and reinvigorate the notion and concept of parental rights. And this school board, because of who they are and the people supporting them, that's the reason a state official, someone who works for the state of California, showed up, who tried to bully them, bullshit them, push them around, threaten them, all of those things that state officials do. And I'm glad that law enforcement was there to throw him out on his ass. This is what the people said to this jackass. You're proposing things that pervert children. That's what the state does, folks. The state of California, the state of Washington, the state of Oregon, the state of New York, the state of Illinois. Any state that allows this sick pedophilia, this child grooming, just nonsense. It is anti-American. It is anti-child. It's anti-Christian. It's anti-good. It's anti-law. It needs to be kicked out on its ass. And there's areas, folks, where they can't do it. Where they can't do it. There's areas where they won't do it. Won't do it. What do you want to talk about? Your time is coming. Your chance is coming. Right down here. Comment section. Put your comments in there. I want to hear what you think. What you think is important. It's as important to me as anything else that happens on this show. Right? I get to talk about all kinds of stuff. I want to hear what you think. You are the audience. You're the reason this channel exists. Without you, I may as well just turn off the computer and mumble to myself. I'll sound like Joe Biden. Just kidding. I never, ever sound like Joe Biden. Now, back to the topic at hand. These fruitcake child grooming sickos. Well, folks, do you remember the trans person, right? The guy with a penis who thought he was a chick? I think that's the batting order. Anyways, this one woke up one day and had a grand revelation. And they thought it would turn into a revolution. It didn't. But on his way to death, he killed little innocent children. He killed good, honest, decent adults at a school. That's right, folks. A mass shooting at a school was conducted by a left-wing Democrat terrorist, trans fruit salad. So we still haven't heard why exactly. Didn't this freak, and a freak this person was, just like the rest of them, didn't he have a manifesto and we never got to hear about it? Well, folks, we still haven't heard about it. So there are many people out there trying to get it from law enforcement. And one journalist, folks, has been just fighting and fighting and fighting to obtain this Nashville fruit salad manifesto. And he got a nasty email, folks. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because it's important to know not only that they want our children, and if they can't convert them to their little sex toys, then they want them dead. But it's much worse and it's much deeper than that. Right? This person wrote an email to the journalist who won't give up and keeps trying to find and get the manifesto released. They wrote a very nasty email. And in addition to the anti-Asian and anti-Irish racist slurs from the left-wing nutcase, he wrote this, quote, "I'm willing to go to prison to end you, you dirty drag." This is just nasty. And I've said some awful shit. You dirty drug addict-eyed Irish fool. You either end your talk show. This journalist has a talk show. You either end your talk show or I'll end your life in real time while you do it. Wow. You have no right to the manifesto of Audrey Hale, and you just want content by obtaining it. No, this idiot was found. They were arrested and now out on bail, $7,500 bail. Interesting, huh? Folks, Democrat socialists like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have promoted this type of thinking and this type of action by saying, you know, be whatever you want to be as a Democrat and do whatever you want and keep doing it and don't quit, right? That's where we're at. But this manifesto's out there. The manifesto of the transgender fruit salad that killed innocent children said things so awful, so grotesque, and so horrifying that the left-wing police scum who are hiding it don't want the world to see what the punishment I want to describe what it did as punishment, because it was just murderous. This Christian murdering, child grooming, trans fruit salad. What did they write? We want to know, but they want to hide it from us. Yes, folks, it's that bad. Or else why would the police still hide it? Right? They claim that it's an ongoing investigation. My ass. If names were named in this manifesto, the cops would have arrested them by now, and there'd be no reason to hide anything. Right? So what are they hiding? Did this manifesto name a child sex trafficking ring? Or maybe government officials who are part of this left-wing disgustingness? Well, if they'd stopped them, if they'd gone and arrested them, they could release the manifesto. So apparently they haven't done shit. Folks, they're all freaks. They're all evil. Trust none of them. It was a time when they just came out of the closet and just wanted people to accept them, just wanted to try and live a semi-normal life. And now here we are. Now we're in that room. We're in that room now. Don't believe them for a second, folks. We just want to come out. We just want to be accepted. No, you want to be worshiped and believed. I don't think so. These people are pure evil. Now, let us continue. Right? This was incredible. The media saying, hey, Congress has to impeach Christopher Wray of the FBI and Attorney General Garland this week. They have to do it this week, or congressional recess kicks in until September. Do you think letting Kevin McCarthy know that he has just 1 week is going to change it? You think he's going to be like, oh shit, I'm out of time. I almost forgot. I need to start impeaching people in the government who are breaking the law. I don't think so. I'm not holding my breath until anybody is impeached, folks, because Kevin doesn't do shit. McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, isn't going to do shit. I would turn blue, purple, and pass out and then die if I held my breath waiting on this dumb bastard. He is controlled opposition up one side and down the other. He may talk a little bit of smack here and there just to put on a good show. Maybe that impresses his boyfriend or boyfriends. I don't know. But don't hold your breath, folks. It is going to be us and only us, patriotic Americans, law-abiding Americans, tax-paying Americans, productive Americans who are going to get rid of these scumbags. It is only us. And it may not be through elections. It may not be. A protest isn't going to change a thing. Protests are now for children. That's it. Protests do not change the way governments do business and what they do and how they handle the people's business. Protests aren't shit. All government officials have to do is ignore a protest. That's it. Now, here's one for you. How do we handle this? How do we handle this? Right? Banks are now denying services based on political views. Right? I've talked about Nigel Farage a couple times. I myself have had issues with banks like PayPal. It's a bank. I know other people, very well educated people, people with lots of money. Trump is a great example of a person who has been, well, systematically and financially attacked by the banking system. Now, they'll do lots of business, folks, with Jeffrey Epstein and Al Gore and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Obama. Those people have some political beliefs and some social, shall we say, opinions that I think are rather repugnant, both to the Constitution and my good moral senses. In other words, they're frickin' scumbags. Yet I don't hear any banks canceling them, but they will cancel Trump. They will cancel you. Folks, it's time to understand that the banks, any bank, is no friend of ours. Trust no bank. It is time, folks, for America and Americans, indeed the people of the world, to start fighting the banks. It's not hard to find them. Unlike people like Zark Muckerberg and Warren Buffett, right, and George Soros, right, it's hard to find them, to pin them down. But banks, they're right there cemented to the ground. How long until people start blowing them to smithereens in a intellectual sense? That is to say, not committing acts of violence, because that's not what I'm doing, but blowing up their narrative, blowing up their, just take your money out of them, all of them. Remove your money from the system. People are getting screwed, by the way. Their 401ks are going to shit. You're losing money. Banks are a lie. People think you put money in a bank to keep it safe. It ain't that kind of movie. Nope. People think that their money is safe in a bank. You take your money to the bank and you lose 10% of it a year to inflation, right? Banks are now totalitarian tools of the elite who want to deny your services, deny you an account unless you agree with them politically. It is time to fight back. We know where they are. Take your money out of them. Folks, if I had any money in a bank other than what I need to pay bills for, electricity, I wouldn't have a bank account. I just would not. Why? It's just so they have a chance to steal it. Now, I'm going to end my segment on something very important. It's called nuclear war, World War III. In Europe, folks, this is where the fight is being fought. Thank you, Jolene. This is where the fight is being fought. Get your questions, your comments, your statements, your predictions, your look at the past, everything. Get it down there now, because we're going to switch over to you guys here very, very quickly. In Europe, folks, Lukashenko, who is the leader of Belarus, he said to Putin, right, that the Wagner troops, that's right, the private military contractor, that is mercenary Russian troops, they're in Belarus, folks. They're supposed to be training the Belarusian military, right? Footage has been released. The Wagner troops are training less than 10 kilometers from the Polish border. All right, they're just north of Ukraine and they're just east of Poland. Now, Lukashenko said this: I am keeping them in central Belarus like we agreed. We are controlling what is happening. But they're in a bad mood. Speaking of the Wagner mercenary fighters. These are the same fighters that reputedly were going to go into Moscow and stage a coup and remove Putin and the legitimate government and replace it. It was a dumb idea. They got stopped, I think, for the reasons that I mentioned and other reasons that have been admitted. Now, Lukashenko gave Putin a map, and he showed how the Poles would attack Belarus. Folks, this is what happens when professional killers get a taste of blood and they want revenge for what's been done to them. Right? This is what happens, folks. Poland has gotten kind of big in their britches. Do you think Russia would attack Poland? Do you think the United States and the rest of Europe is going to come running to Poland's aid if there's a war, a further increase in military conflict? Do you think Poland and Belarus could get started, right? Now, there's a huge chance that Poland could lob some artillery 10 kilometers, 5 miles into Belarus and try taking out the private military contractor, the mercenaries. There's a chance of that, a huge risk. And if that happens, folks, the Wagner group, the mercenaries, could go on a revenge attack. You know, how Ukrainian troops, their Ukrainian Nazi groups, broke into Russia and they started killing Russians until they were killed off and chased back. It's an ugly freaking mess. And it's just taken one big step closer to all-out World War III in Europe. All right, that's all I got to say about that. And now it's your turn. Join me in the inner circle with your questions. What is that sound? Mr. T came up with that one. All right, what's on your mind? What are you thinking? Jolene, ooh man, let's step it up. We've got name redacted. And once again, I want to thank those who have sent even more donations into the Prepared Mind channel to keep the old pantry full of tuna fish and spam and basically keep the channel alive and keep me well fed. You notice I'm not getting too skinny, but I am trying to get in better shape. Anyways, name redacted steps up and says, if they recommend something, let alone mandate it, I pass on the showcase. I hear you. Anything the government thinks is a good idea, more than likely isn't. Anytime they say something's a good deal, you probably shouldn't avoid it. People used to have pensions, folks. Now, us older people, my age and older, understand what a pension is. You work for a company 20, 30, 40 years, and they give you a pension. They pay money into a retirement. They'd be fully funded retirement pensions. And then you would get paid in your retirement. Well, they got rid of that system and they went to private retirement systems, the 401k system. You know what that does? It says to everybody in the middle class and below, you'll never frickin' retire. Because by time you get from where you're at to $250,000, by time you get from that spot with a $50,000 a year income, right? You're just a regular working Joe. The amount of money you pay in fees for a company to manage it, every penny you contribute goes just to pay those fucking fees. You put nothing into your 401k after that. Because all you do is pay fees. It's a scam. The 401k system is a fucking scam designed to get you pay money into Wall Street so they can manage your money and make sure you never grow past $250,000 if you're just a regular Joe. Now, let's just say you make $100,000 a year. Great. You'll get $500,000 after paying into a 401k for 15, 20 years, and you'll never get past that because the higher your number that you've saved up is, the higher you pay for the companies that manage your 401k to do absolutely jack shit with it. It goes into a big collective fund, and they just flush your fucking money down the toilet by making stupid investments in diversity, equity, and inclusion, environmental, social governance, bullshit corporations. That's how it works. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off over it. Because someone, and there's a lot of people I care about, but someone I care about lately has been forced into retirement. This happens about 3-4 times a year. Someone I know gets forced into retirement. They get screwed. They get handed their fucking pink slip, their walking papers, and told, we don't give a shit about you anymore. So, now, I know name redacted, folks, isn't really talking about 401k retirements. What are they talking about? More than likely the Jim Jones juice. Yeah, the government wanted to mandate it. Well, the moment they say you should, I say maybe I shouldn't. The moment they say you will, I say the fuck I will. Look what's happening out there, folks. Regular people keeling over. Neurological issues, pulmonary issues, lungs, cardiac issues, strokes, clots, paralysis. Super athletes, they're not exempt. People in good shape, not exempt. Even children are not exempt. That's right. Even children are fucking keeling over and getting myocarditis and pericarditis because they have clots, folks, clots. Their little hearts are struggling to pump blood to keep them alive, and so their hearts get enlarged. It's not very fucking cute. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. You know, old hag, scarf lady, Dr. Burks. She apparently has picked up a very high-paying job. Good job. You sold out the world for a couple $1 million. What a piece of shit. All right, let's move on if we shall. We got a lot to talk about here. And Jane Dixon steps in and she says, I see Biden attempting to make me a criminal again with generators being outlawed. Now, here we go, Jane. Yes, the Biden administration wants to make portable gasoline generators illegal. Now, if you've already purchased one, yours is grandfathered in. But they're trying to make it illegal to sell more. Now, when I lived in California, they started making things harder and harder on small engines. No more two-strokes. They pollute too much. I tell you, folks, they pollute too much, huh? Really. Anyways, they switched to 4-stroke, and then engines have to be CARB, California Air Resources Board. CARB compliant. All CARB is a bunch of political dunderheads trying to ruin the economy and the planet. Still, CARB. Let me tell you a little funny story. Saturday, when I got done paddling around the estuaries, dodging frickin' snakes and gators, guess what I smelled when I went to the muddy shore? I smelled rotting vegetation. It smelled like cow farts times 100 because the area I was standing in was where the water meets the soil and vegetation rots and it releases methanes. That's right, folks. Methane's natural methane, not a cow fart, folks. It made cow farts smell like roses. Every piece of vegetation on the planet that dies and falls off, leaves, twigs, grasses, anything, folks, weeds, water weeds, underwater weeds, right? They all rot and release hydrocarbons, carbon. Doesn't take a cow. Insects don't help. That's where everything is created. It's the circle of life, but these fucking people don't know a damn thing. You know, they're the problem. All right, Jane, thank you for the great topic. Yeah, our generators are bad. Well, thankfully, the one you own is safe. The generator I have is safe. But they want to stop everyone else from becoming a prepper. So aren't you glad you're already a prepper? If you're not, you better get prepped now. All right, Ooman. All right, Jolene, who's up? We got Ooman. He wants to be up. He says, I heard that Potato Joe is suing Texas over floating barriers used to repel illegals. That's right. That's right. Joe Biden and the Biden administration, the Democrats, they don't like Texas trying to protect their own borders because that's right. the derelict federal government, Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security won't do their fucking jobs and protect our country from being invaded by, well, unvaccinated immigrants. Immigrants who don't have papers. Immigrants who are trying to get in this country illegally and have no business being here. Well, guess what? It was revealed today that the illegals coming up through Mexico have built a bridge across the river so they can get across quickly and get into America. And guess who knows about it? That's right. The federal government is well aware that they built a rope suspension bridge to get them across the river and into our country. Isn't that amazing? It's absolutely amazing to me. The federal government knows it, and they're not doing anything to stop it, folks. This is who they are. They hate America. They don't want to protect America. They want to destroy America. And they're doing it piece by piece. Thank you, Mr. Uman, very much for letting us know how righteously un-American Potato Joe is. And Democrats love it, folks. They're fucking cheering on the destruction of America. What a bunch of pieces of shit. Every last one of them. Every single last stinking Democrat hates America. They pretend they don't, but they do. They do. They would just as surely roast a hot dog made out of lips and assholes over a smoldering American flag. But don't you dare touch one of their rainbow flags. And I want to reiterate one more time that if you're going to have one of those flags and you want to fly it, then you agree with and support every single thing that anyone believes in that has to do with that flag, including grooming children, causing children to castrate themselves, hate their parents. That's what that flag stands for. Anti-America, hatred, the destruction of innocence, and the perversion of all that is decent. That's what that flag stands for. It doesn't stand for gay rights. It stands for gay and perverted domination. It stands for the homosexualization of our military. And I don't think anyone has called it that directly. It is the homosexualization of the military. That's what that flag stands for. And anyone that flies it deserves the scorn and wrath of everybody who loves America. I'm not talking about doing things violent and dangerous, folks. I don't want you to be a bully. Oh, heaven forbid that. Just understand who they are. All right. Let us move on. Jolene, who's up next? It is Red Arrow Tinker. I tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen your name up here before. You must be one of the people who have recently subscribed. Thank you very much. We're getting more subscribers, folks, because more people right here are wanting to support the message of freedom, the message of liberty, the message of constitutionality, the message of righteous American indignation against the enemies of this country who have come out and pronounced who they are. They're showing us exactly who they are, and they're not ashamed of their socialist, thieving, murdering, perverted ways. So let's commence with Red Arrow Tinker's comments. He says, I rewatched V for Vendetta last night. I recommend everyone watch that film with the closed captioning turned on. It helps it stick in your brain better. Part of the plot is a disease inflicted on a portion of the citizenry, along with dun 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 dun, Jim Jones juice created by Big Pharmaceutical. I've watched that movie probably twice, and the part about the Jim Jones juice never really sunk in. I heard it and it kind of went, phew. But the times I watched it, Red Arrow, were pre-Cerveza bug. So your recommendation, I think, is a good one. And I recommend that for many movies. It's kind of irritating and frustrating to have closed captioning on the screen. But quite often, it reveals things that are said that you don't quite catch with the ear, but with the eye, it sends the words, the thoughts, right to that part of the brain. We learn, folks, 90 to 95% of what we learn, we take in through our eyes, what we see. And so seeing the words is a much more powerful effect than just hearing them. Thank you, Red Arrow Tinker. Welcome to the program. All right, Jolene, who wants to step up next? Let's keep it going. Let's have some more fun. Name redacted says, "Ha, John, these are the fucking people that scream tolerance my whole life. So much for that." That's right. These people scream for tolerance. No bullying them. You have to just give them a chance. Treat them fair. They have equal rights. You can't silence them. They have freedom of speech. You have to let them into schools. And this is now, folks, you have to hire them or they're going to sue you for sexual discrimination. You can't make fun of them because then you're a bigot and a homophobe. Right? Look at where we're at now. Is the world a better place? Or are we close to a fruit salad revolution? No, I mean, you want to talk about absurd. That's exactly what we got. Folks, the thumbnail from my Sunday Night Live last night was a bunch of little girls running next to a tank with rifles. That's what the world thinks of the U.S. Army now. That's exactly what they think of the U.S. Army. Lost respect. The only thing that other nations are afraid of right now, the only thing they fear, folks, is nuclear annihilation. That's it. That is it. Well, and the Marine Corps. They don't fear the military. They don't fear losing the petrodollar, the U.S. dollar. I guarantee, folks, that if you went to another country and you said, "Hey, look, you guys better straighten up or we're going to take our dollars back," they'll probably laugh at you. They'll be like, "Fuck you, we don't care." Folks, do you know that in other countries, people buy gold and silver? That is how they save money. They save wealth. I recommend to myself, not to anyone else, because I can't give financial advice, but I recommend to myself that I buy, when I have money, gold and silver. And I haven't bought any in a long time, but when I have money, I sure did. In fact, it was funny when silver used to be really cheap. People used to send me silver coins. It was great. I love it. You know, in fact, you know, here's one of them right here. I love that. In fact, one time Uman sent me, I was ragging on frickin' Bitcoin left and right. So he sent me a silver, was it Bitcoin Uman? What was that thing? It was, it had a nickname. What was it, Uman?
It was a silver Bitcoin.
It was a silver Bitcoin. Okay, I thought so. Bitcoin was the big one, and it was, yeah. It was funny as hell. I was like, damn it, now I own Bitcoin. Shit.
It was just too funny not to buy that. And it's going to actually be worth something when everything goes to shit. So there you go.
Well, it was worth something when you bought it. It's worth more now than when you sent it to me. And It's a form of savings, but around the world, they just take US dollars and they turn them into useful things. I don't think they save them because, you know, inflation, it buys less and less. But yeah, in other countries, they're buying the shit. In fact, you know what's interesting, man, is I read and have heard several times now that millennials and Gen Z are buying more silver and gold than my generation, Gen X, which is also your generation, and the boomers. They're actually buying it.
I've also seen articles saying that they're incurring less debt and relying less on credit cards and doing a better job of budgeting.
Well, good. That must be the Republicans, because I know the Democrats, they won't even get a job serving fucking coffee because they're too good for it. They should be running corporations. the fucking left wing, whining, sniveling millennial fucks. And I tell you what, I know, I've met them. They're awful.
They gotta be made executives at Budweiser as soon as they get out of college.
How old is your son that, I won't say his name, but I met him down.
No, Brandon, the one who just moved to Florida, he's 29.
You said it, man. You outed him.
That's all right. He's got no problem with that. He's 29.
Yeah. He is right in that millennial sweet spot. Hardworking. Don't fuck with that guy. I'm telling you, don't mess with him. He's like Bigfoot. He'll fuck you up.
Well, he's like got your kind of build, just a couple inches shorter.
That's all. But yeah, he's such a good man. But don't fuck with him. Oh man. Anyways, I just love that feeling, being around people that you don't fuck with. You know what? Yeah. I always feel safer when I'm around dangerous people.
Well, when we go out, I feel like I got my own set of bodyguards surrounding me, man.
Yeah. I tell you, that's how I felt with my son as well. I think of him as my little guy. But if anyone were to lift a hand, it'd be over. He'll fuck people up. Love it. Yep. I just love real Americans.
Absolutely.
Every time I go out down here in the South, I run into both types. I run into complete lunatic idiots, and I just go, there's the Democrats. And then I run into hardworking, good people, and I'm like, those are Republicans, right? Not the political Republicans, the rhinos and the sellouts and the uniparty jackasses in government, but just regular run-of-the-mill Republicans on the street.
Right, just good old hardworking conservative people,
Yeah,
and
I was sitting at a stoplight in my work car, and this fucking truck rolled up behind me. My entire mirror was filled with the word Ford, right? And I turned left, right? And this guy in the left turning lane, he roars up behind me and next to me, and he's got the Trump flags and the fuck Biden flag and the don't tread on me flag flying out of the back of his vehicle. And I just thought, I don't give a fuck. Love it. Absolutely love it. I love
absolutely
to see people who are proud to be American, and just makes me happy. Smile ear to ear. God bless them.
I've got to meet a few of Brandon's buddies down there, and they're all a bunch of good guys too. I mean, I'm amazed at how many good friends he's made down there in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, Florida's got some decent people, and I love the South. Love it.
Yep. All right, I'll let you get back to it.
All right. Who's up next? Who's got something to say? Charles Gentry checks in. He says, Poland got crapped on in 2 world wars. Indeed, they did. He says, I don't think they're going to let that happen again. I sure hope they don't. But so far, Poland has sent in a bunch of Leopard tanks. They've sent in a bunch of equipment, bunch of guns, rockets, bullets, missiles, everything they've got, they've sent into Ukraine. Now, did they get that all from the U.S.? Did they get a lot of it from Germany? How much of it was Polish equipment, and how low is Poland on ammunition and guns and artillery? You see, that's the mistake the West is making, is they're sending all of their goodies into Ukraine just to have it driven to the front line, fire a few rounds off, and abort mission, and they run away and leave the tanks and equipment and munitions behind. And I don't even know how many and how much of these munitions, explosives, doesn't even make it to the front line. It makes it into the back of Yuri Grogorov's SUV and gets driven somewhere else and sold. I tell you. All right, Charles, great point. Poland doesn't want to get their ass kicked, but they're not making some of the best decisions. But then, again, neither is the rest of the world. Okay, let us continue, if we shall. Jane Dixon says, bet. You're going to bet. $10 says Joe goes away on medical leave soon. If they're going to push for impeachment, if they truly want to impeach, I actually think, and I've heard what you're talking about, Jane. I've heard it. In fact, I think I talked about it last night. that the prediction is that if Joe's going to be impeached, he'll just resign, kind of like Nixon did. What's the point of impeaching someone who's resigned? Well, I know the Democrats wanted to do it, but what's the point? Really? I think the record should reflect that they were impeached, and that's fine. Impeachments typically are political. Every one that has happened so far has been based on political party affiliation and their rejection of the other party's move in the presidency, but still probably deserved. Now, even Andrew Johnson, was it Andrew Johnson? Yeah, President Johnson, who served after Abraham Lincoln, was the first to be impeached. Now, $10, I wouldn't take that bet because, yeah, Joe probably will. But on the other hand, anyone wants to take Jane Dixon's bet, I'll say this. If any Democrat gets impeached, like Bill Clinton, they can treat it like a resume enhancement. I pissed off those Republicans so bad that they impeached me. That's how awesome I did at pushing our left-wing anti-American crap on this country and the world. Anyways, thank you, Jane. Okay, I'm running out of time. I've got less than 5 minutes. Let's get to who's next. Red Arrow Tinker's back. And he says exactly right about the retirement fund, John. For those of us who aren't millionaires, it's the best just to invest in land and ammo. Kapow. Things that matter. Food, have that. Water, know how to get it, make it. Shelter, clothing, you must have those things. Medicine, especially us older folks. Getting a little on in years, right? And then, of course, means of self-defense. There's your ammo. Get your freedom seed spreaders because you might be fertilizing the ground with, that's right, what ground gets fertilized with best. Thank you, Red Arrow Tinker. Jolene, who's next? We got the name redacted. He says the cult cabal, folks, that's the Democrats, the Rhino Republicans. The cult cabal has shown there is no benefit to continue having the FBI, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, CDC, or the National Institutes of Health. They have shown what's the point of having these fucking things? They're not doing their jobs. National Institutes of Health, all they've done is manage to kill things, spread bat soup, kill beagles, and, well, basically murder millions. CDC, same story. Border Patrol, they don't even do good business at the donut shop. Homeland Security, what Homeland Security? The FBI, they are a bunch of fruit salads themselves. Someone I know who is very near and dear to me that I love very much has it on good authority, having met, worked, and trained around them, that they're a bunch of sissies. Sissies, wimps. They know who they are. They'll show up with guns and vests and automatic rifles, assault weapons, because some religious Christian person dared to pray outside of an abortion clinic. That's how macho these fucking guys are. They'll catch somebody, offer them drugs or hookers or maybe underage children, catch them in the act, and then say, all right, we own you. You're going to do whatever we want because we set you up and we got you, and now we can extort the living shit out of you the rest of your life. You're our bitch. That's right, folks. They're a bunch of law enforcement pimps screwing everyone over. I've got no respect for them. When was the last time the FBI did anything good? Name it. Tell me when the FBI did something good. Yeah, back when they chased down John Dillinger. It was the 1930s, or was it the 40s? Name something the FBI that's they done. Did they stop 9/11? No. All of these serial murderers, serial killers, mass murderers. Well, the FBI had been keeping an eye on them. Well, they didn't fucking do anything. They're murdering people, and they're just watching them do it. They didn't know they were murdering everyone, but they were watching them. That's the FBI, folks. That's it. I tell you what, I'm going to let you go. And by the way, I don't think I'll let myself be arrested, hauled off to a federal prison so that a bunch of sick, perverted wackos being held by the feds could try to turn me into some kind of play toy for them. No, I don't think so. I don't think I'll be denied justice, my rights. I don't count on any lawyer or judge or court run by the feds being interested in my rights. They don't seem to understand what the Bill of Rights is about, what the Declaration of Independence meant, and what any of it means to any of us. All they see, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, they see it as an impediment, right? A speed bump to them screwing over the planet. That's all they see. I see a brilliant document. They see trash. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed, Semper Fi. I'll see you 0 Dark 30. Until then,